Me. Ow now, brown cow. What's going on, guys? I have a special video for you guys today, and I have a special guest. I've brought Lyman, who's Alyse actually. Her name's Alyse, but this video I really wanted to sit down and talk with you about, because on my channel it's huge. Like, the self-esteem issue is huge because I talk about acne a lot. I know a lot of you guys who are watching struggle with self-esteem, struggle with being confident, and I think it's just, for me, when I was going through it, anytime someone would open up about self-esteem or open up about issues that they're personally going through, it just made me feel so much more like not alone on the topic and stuff. So we're just gonna like have a conversation about it, and I really hope that you guys can get something out of this, because I think we both have had our own struggles, and I think we both have like a lot to say about it. You've struggled with self-esteem before. A lot of people have heard about mine, but like what was like your self-esteem issue?
So I used to have something called binge eating disorder.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and I've kind of gone through like restricting and then also binging. So at the worst point of it, I could hardly even interact with like my mom, who I was really close to, and also my best friend. I just felt like I had this wall up of insecurity, and I couldn't interact with people normally because I felt so uncomfortable in my own body. And I was going to the gym regularly at this point to like over exercise calories that I had binged on. And I got to this point where I was just eating so much that I couldn't get rid of those calories, and I just felt uncomfortable in the gym and like all the time in my own body. And yeah, it really kind of created a lot of distance between me and the people I was closest to.
Do you think that you were really insecure because of what you thought people would think of you when they knew that you were eating lots of food, or because of like your body, the way your body would in your mind look?
The way that my body looked. Yeah. I mean, also knowing that I was like treating myself badly, I was insecure to like have others know that, but it was mostly like the image of my body. Like, I thought people thought I was like this heavy girl, and I didn't want to be that.
Like, I definitely know what you mean, because like with my acne, I definitely felt like people were just staring at my acne all the time. And realistically, now, especially now, because I have more perspective on the whole topic, I know that nobody was really looking at my acne. You know, a couple people, of course, it's just like life. Everyone's gonna look at something every once in a while, but you think that 99% of people are focused on that issue.
Yeah.
It's because in your
like,
perspective, you've blown it out of proportions for yourself.
Yeah. I used to think that like people would speak to me and all they could think of was like, wow, I'm speaking to like this big girl right now. And like probably the same thing with acne, like thinking like all they can think about is the fact that I have acne on my face, and it's like, it's not like that. It might cross people's minds or sight of view, like seeing it, but it's not like, we are more than our exterior.
How long ago was this when you were struggling with this?
Probably 3 years ago.
And when do you think that you kind of had a change of perspective in mind for?
At that rock bottom point, when I started to realize it was like really impacting my entire life, I just felt so low, and then I just started looking into alternative ways of treating my body, and kind of discovered self-love and veganism and just living a more compassionate lifestyle, both for myself and for the world. And as soon as I started like putting that into action, I just like felt more comfortable with myself and felt more accepting of myself, and it wasn't all hate, insecurity. Did
you hit a point where you stopped binging, or did you hit a point where maybe you're still binging, you're moving into this veganism thing, but you started just approaching it differently, your perspective is different? Yeah,
so it was like a pretty gradual recovery for me. My binges became smaller, and they were on more healthful foods, not processed food anymore. It was like vegan food, whole foods that I was binging on, but they were smaller binges, and I found that like moving away from the processed food really helped me. So it was just like a very gradual process, and along with transitioning to a more healthy diet, I was journaling every single day and trying to meditate as often as I could remember to, and just like going for long walks outside by myself and trying to just like care for myself a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Like, I've heard diaries are extremely really like helpful, because I think you get so busy with the white noise, meaning like you go outside and the first thing you think of is like whoever you interact with first. You go to the coffee shop and you're like, oh man, the coffee shop barista is looking at me, I have to deal with this. And then you go to work and you're like, man, I hope that this person doesn't think this and that about me. And you're just surrounded by like this very like shallow level of like, you're just busy. It's busyness, but it's unimportant. It doesn't, like, ultimately and this is terrible, but like imagine that the barista guy really does think that you look terrible. Who cares? You walk away and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The thing that for me always helped a lot was just like having a passion. Like once I found a passion, it was a lot easier to not really care about what that guy thinks, because I'm busy following my passion. So like even if you hate me or whatever, doesn't really matter, because I have to go over here and do this thing, or you love me, it doesn't matter, because I still have to go over here and do this thing. It doesn't matter what you think, because I have to go over here and do this thing for me to be like fulfilling myself.
Yeah.
With your diary though, I've heard that's really good, because a lot of people are so stuck in that like white noise area that they don't really self-analyze.
Yeah.
And I feel like that really has helped me. I don't do a diary, I do like other ways of doing it, especially like videoing myself or talking through podcasts or something. But do you think that the diary was like slowly kind of bring you out and like got you to start thinking differently?
Yeah, that I think was the main thing in addition to food that I did, because it was 6 months straight every single day that I journaled, and I didn't always know like what to write about, but I like had to write something every day. I just like wanted to do that, and I found that it helped whenever I did. So when I didn't know what to write, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna sit here until I have something to write. And it was usually just about my day, about how I was feeling, and that really healed me.
Yeah.
And now like I don't journal every single day, and I do feel like that was the most transformative period of my life when I did. So it's something that I go back to like on a weekly basis, or whenever I'm really feeling like everything is out of control, I just write it down.
I think it's a good point too. It's like you say you don't necessarily diary all the time now, but obviously I can tell you have much higher self-esteem than when you're talking about this time in your life. I don't think it's something that you have to just
carry out forever.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like this scary thing that's like, man, I have to now spend all this time. It's like you just have to start it, because everybody has it in them. It's just you have to realize it. You have to realize that you're worth everything. Like no person is better than another person just because they have a special logo on their shirt that costs more than the shirt that you're wearing, or whatever material thing it is, or whatever label it is. This person lives in a better place than you or whatever. Like legit, I have met the best people who live in the worst conditions. You know what I mean? And I've met people who aren't necessarily at the best point in their own personal growth, who are in fantastic positions. You end up seeing these people and you're like, wow, they have it all together. They have so much money and they have like all this stuff set for them and stuff. But then I've talked to those people and they'll tell me like, dude, I'm going through like massive depression. Like it's really tough what I'm going through. And you would never guess it, because you're like, you don't have anything to worry about. But if you don't ever like work on yourself and you just work on all this other material stuff, you never get to develop yourself.
So I moved to Hawaii a year ago, and I started living on a fruit farm, and there was really poor Wi-Fi there, so I was kind of like disconnected from the world, and I was trying to keep up with my online business, but there was only a certain extent that I could do that. So I had a lot of time to think and just be and live life and like eat and work on the farm and sleep and spend time in nature and like connect with other people, and like those are the basics. And I felt so good and free and like had so much mental clarity. And then as soon as I moved into a house with stable Wi-Fi and started growing my business more and more and spending more time, like just my head became so filled with all of this, and it's easy to like lose touch with yourself and then like lose self-esteem as well. When you were struggling back, when you had lower self-esteem, would you say that how would you say that you interact with other people? Like how would you treat other people? Were you super nice to them, or would you kind of let that pessimism come back out of you to other people? Can I swear on your channel? You can swear. I was a bitch when I had no self-esteem, when I felt really shitty in my body. I was not nice to people. And I just like, I couldn't find the peace and like calmness within me to interact with people in that way, because I was just like so tense and anxious and like I just felt unhappy, and that totally reflected in the way that I interacted with people. I'm glad you say that. I know it's terrible, but like I'm glad about that. But I think one of the biggest things that will help you is to first start trying to drop all the negativity out of your life. Try not to gossip about people. Try not to like pander into negativity. And if you have people that are around you who you're constantly with all the time, who just reverberate negativity and cause you to get into negative conversations all the time, day in, day out, it's gonna be really hard for you to be like, oh no, we should stop talking about that. But everybody in your group wants to gossip and talk bad about people. That's one thing that I did a while ago. It took a lot of work, but I let go of certain relationships that were all about that, because like you said, that was a complete barrier and obstacle to becoming confident and happy with my own body. And I dropped those people out of my life. I stopped following anyone on social media that had that sort of like energy of gossip and like any negative vibes. Like there's almost a trend around complaining and negativity. Like when you go onto Twitter or something, you hear people complaining. You read their, is that gonna pick it up?
That's all good.
Okay. And yeah, there's definitely a trend around that, I think, and like getting away from that can help you with your self-esteem.
Yeah. When I was going through my acne, I was like super low self-esteem, but I would put on this mask that I was like super happy and whatever, it's all good and stuff, but obviously people are like getting to you and it's like, it's terrible, it's really hard. I would, to make myself feel better because I felt so low about myself, I would try to take other people, whatever it is that was cool or good about them, and I would try to be like, oh, it's not really that cool or good, because then it made me feel like they weren't better than me, which is just like this spiral, right? Because you can't be positive if you're constantly taking part in making other people feel negative. What are they doing back there?
I don't know.
Are they just like, there's a video going on, get the hammer. I fixed it. We're good. So one of the things that started helping me a lot when I was going through my acne, and I started to kind of try to analyze myself and figure out how I could deal with it better than I was I just started trying to be super nice to people, and I started trying to care about people. And obviously I think when you go through something really hard that obviously you respect because you're going through it, so you take it very genuinely and seriously, it makes it easier to look at other people's issues, even if you don't get them and you're not currently going through it, you don't even know what it's about, but you can understand because you're like, my thing people think is unimportant, but it's everything to me. You're like, I don't understand your thing, but it's probably everything to you. So it's easier to care. And I think when that's like you have the negative cycle, and then you start analyzing, and then you can start the positive cycle. And then you the more you just feed into that positive cycle and try to put out positivity and receive positivity and really only give like attention to positivity, and then all the negativity you just kind of you just let it fall and you don't give any attention to it. I feel like that helps so much. And it's not something that you can do overnight. No. It's something that takes constant practice with and awareness with, and I think it's just like the simplest thing to do is to think, like when you're thinking about something negative, just become aware of it, and when you realize that, then try and do something differently. Try and switch it. And you might not be able to switch it to the positive right away. You might just, like, your first step might be just being aware, wow, I'm thinking really negatively right now. And you might not be able to redirect your thoughts right away. But if you like keep being aware of that, then eventually you'll feel like more comfortable in shifting to a more positive mindset. Especially in the last like a year or two, I've even more so try to analyze whenever things are going negative in terms of conversation, and I'll realize like this conversation has gone negative and I'm not very comfortable continuing. Like I try to curb the conversation. You know what I mean? Because like you're saying, you just analyze it. Don't try to do anything with that first. Just realize what's happening and just realize that it is negative. That's okay. And then eventually, after you've been able to identify it so quickly, it will just feel awkward. Like it'll feel odd for you to stay in that place. So it's not even like you really have to try. It's just you have to just be aware a little bit more, think about things that are going on a little bit more. I always try to analyze how my conversations have gone afterwards. It's something I've always done since I was like a little kid. It started with like self-esteem, because I was just trying to be like, am I doing the right things in conversation? Was that a good conversation? But now it's just like, did I say something that, was rude? Like for example, and I know, like, don't take offense to this, but like when I was 15 through 18 in high school, I would always be like, oh, that's retarded. That's so retarded. Or, oh man, that's gay. And it's like, you don't realize like, oh, that's the terminology everybody uses, everybody's saying it. So like, you kind of just let it pass. But like, if you're gay, that sucks. If you have a brother has handicap, like, that sucks. You hear that, You know what I mean? And for you, if you don't have any of those things around you, then you're like, it doesn't matter that much. But there's like a whole group of people that you could just be like, completely offending. Absolutely. And like being aware of that. And it's the same thing with speaking negatively. It's like negative terms, negative sentences, whatever it is. Just like, I think also having the main goal, like you were saying earlier, of shifting to positive, like just have that as a huge goal in your life. Like as much as you want to have this job in the future, have that be one of your main goals, to speak more positively and be a positive influence on other people.
and to yourself.
Absolutely. I think when you fill yourself with positivity and you fill yourself with love, even if it's for others because you can't do it for yourself quite yet, it comes back to you.
Yeah.
It really does. I think people see it, they feel it, even if they don't understand, they subconsciously don't know why, but they've realized it, and they just treat you better, because it's hard for a person to treat you terribly if you are always being positive and you're always throwing a spin on things that are positive. And don't get me wrong, this isn't sugarcoat. Some people won't be that nice because some people haven't developed themselves. You have to understand that too. I think for me that was one of the most comforting things, is that when people are super negative to me now, I'm just like, something's bothering you, or you just haven't started analyzing yourself. You don't realize what you're saying. Yeah. And then it's like, it's hard to take those people's words with weight. Yeah. Because they haven't weighted their words yet.
Have you ever said that before?
No, I haven't. Should I keep that? I know this is getting long, but this is the last thing I want to say, is when I was 15, I used to look at people who would say things like I'm saying right now, and like Alyse is saying, where we're trying to be like, be nice to people, love people, you know, try not to offend people. And I'd be like, that's so stupid, man. Who cares if people are offended? They need to like suck it up, right? And I would never look at me right now, back then, before I had developed my like personality and started analyzing myself and thought it was awesome. But now that I have analyzed and I am trying to be better to people, and I try to keep this positive sense around me, everything is better. Every relationship I have, every friendship is like very genuine. Everybody that I'm like trying to work with and stuff, who are in the same kind of vein category as me, it's so much more rewarding, and it's like so much more cathartic for me to like develop these friendships, because it's real, versus like, I want you to think I'm cool. I don't have to worry about if you think I'm cool, because it's not about being cool. It's just about being nice, like, and genuine. I think there's this huge, like I said before, trend around negativity and like not caring what people think, building up your walls, like being super strong, dealing with like whatever. And I think there's not enough trend around positivity, loving yourself, analyzing what you're sharing in the world, what you're saying to yourself and to other people. And yeah, same thing with me. My life was freaking dark before I started incorporating, I can't even imagine that,
positivity into my life. Yeah, I think that everyone who feels like they're a positive person right now has had a darker past, and it's not a fun past.
Yeah, it's not.
It's nice to get away from that, and it's in your hands to start moving towards that.
Surround yourself with negativity and you'll never be able to get around negativity. If you surround yourself with positivity, the only thing left is to feel positive and good about yourself. That's the end of the video, guys. This is Alyse from Raw Alignment. I just really want you to go and subscribe to her channel. I think she's like the best person, and I feel like our ideologies, while our like lives and context and things that we do are much different, I feel like we have a very similar kind of like core perspective. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I think you'll benefit and you'll like everything that she puts out just as much as the things I put out. So please go subscribe to her.
Thank you.
She's freaking awesome. If you like this video, give it the big smash on the thumbs up. Let us know what you thought in the comments below, and if you had anything that while you were listening to this video you thought, you know, you wanted to add in there, throw it in there, because people read through the comments and it helps out a lot. And the last thing is subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Team me on the week.
CT.
Lift heavy or die MIRIN, motherfucker.
CT.
I love that. You know that. Oh my gosh.
I was like, team me on the week. CT, lift heavy.